Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we're going to be talking all about SEO.
SEO.
Search engine optimization.
Yes.
We've got this research paper here that we're going to be taking a deep dive into. And I think the really cool thing about it is that it's not just for tech people.
Right.
This is something that every business owner can use and benefit from. So we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of how SEO can impact your business.
Absolutely.
How to increase your visibility, how to get more customers, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we know that SEO can seem kind of like this mysterious, confusing world.
It can.
So we're here to break it down, make it simple,
Yeah.
and hopefully make it a little bit fun along the way.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
What is SEO?
So in the simplest terms, SEO is how you get your website to the top of the search results when somebody searches on Google or Bing.
Okay.
So, when you go to Google and you type in best pizza near me,
All
those websites that pop up, that's because of SEO.
Got it. So the higher you rank in those results, the more likely people are to click on your website.
Exactly. The more visible you are, the more traffic you get, and hopefully the more customers you get.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So this paper focuses specifically on Google and Bing. Why are those the big players in the SEO world?
Well, Google is obviously the 800-pound gorilla.
Sure.
It has the lion's share of the market.
Right.
And its algorithm is incredibly complex. There are over 200 factors that go into their ranking system.
Wow, 200.
Yeah, it's constantly evolving and changing. So it's a real challenge to stay on top of things. But that's what makes SEO so interesting.
And Bing.
Bing is smaller, for sure, but it has its own strength. It tends to focus more on recent events and news.
Yep.
And it's also better at handling flash content, which can be important for some businesses.
Interesting. The paper had this great example. They talked about searching for Indian tourism and how Google prioritizes the official tourism website while Bing shows you news articles first.
Yeah, that's a perfect illustration of how each search engine interprets user intent differently.
Right. They're both trying to figure out what the user really wants, but they go about it in different ways.
Exactly.
I remember back in the day, SEO was all about submitting your website to directories and things like that.
Oh, yeah, the good old days.
Does that even work anymore?
It's not nearly as effective as it used to be.
Okay.
SEO has become much more sophisticated these days.
So what does it involve now?
Well, it's a lot about keyword research,
Okay.
understanding what people are actually searching for online,
Right.
and then making sure that your website is using those keywords in a natural way.
Got it.
It's also about website structure, making sure your site is easy to navigate, and that the content is high quality and relevant.
So it's not just about stuffing keywords into your website anymore.
Definitely not. The search engines are way too smart for that.
Right.
It's about creating content that people actually want to read and that provides value.
The paper talked about that as a major shift in SEO. Like, it's gone from this very technical, keyword-focused approach to a more holistic, user-focused approach.
Exactly. It's about creating a great experience for the user, not just trying to game the system.
That makes sense. So we've talked about the basics of SEO and how it's evolved.
Yeah.
Let's get to the heart of the matter. Why is SEO so important for businesses?
But the biggest reason is that it can dramatically increase your visibility and traffic.
Okay.
More people are going to find your website, which means more potential customers and ultimately more sales.
Makes sense.
Plus, SEO is a lot more cost-effective than traditional advertising. Like, think about running a TV commercial or putting an ad in a magazine. That can cost you a fortune.
Sure.
But with SEO, you're essentially getting free traffic from the search engines.
Okay, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So it sounds like SEO is pretty much a no-brainer for businesses.
Well, there are definitely challenges, too. It's not all sunshine and roses.
What are some of the biggest challenges?
One of the toughest things is finding the right keywords.
Okay.
You need to figure out what your target audience is actually searching for.
Right.
And then you have to compete with other businesses who are also targeting those same keywords.
So it's a pretty competitive landscape.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that Google's algorithms are constantly changing.
You mentioned that earlier.
So what works today might not work tomorrow.
That sounds frustrating.
It can be, but it also keeps things interesting. You have to be constantly learning and adapting.
It sounds like you need a certain level of expertise to do SEO effectively.
You definitely need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of great resources available these days. There are books, courses, websites that can teach you the basics.
So it's not something that's completely out of reach for the average business owner.
Not at all.
So you're saying it's a challenge, but it's a worthwhile challenge.
Absolutely. The rewards can be huge if you do it right.
So the paper also talked about this thing called pay-per-click advertising, or PPC. How does that fit into the SEO picture?
So PPC is a form of paid advertising where you bid on keywords. And when someone searches for those keywords, your ad appears at the top of the search results.
So it's a way to get instant visibility.
Exactly. It's a great way to drive traffic to your website quickly, especially if you're launching a new product or running a special promotion.
But it costs money.
Right. It can be expensive if you're not careful.
So how do you decide whether to use SEO or PPC or both?
It really depends on your specific goals and budget.
Okay.
If you need quick results and you have the money to spend, PPC can be a good option.
Uh-huh.
But if you're looking for long-term sustainable growth, SEO is the way to go.
And sometimes you can use them together, right?
Absolutely. You can use PPC to get some initial traction,
Okay.
and then use SEO to build a solid foundation for your online presence.
Got it. So it's not an either situation?
Not a...
They can work together to create a comprehensive digital marketing strategy.
Uh,
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the basics of SEO, how it's evolved, the benefits, the challenges, and how it fits in with other marketing tactics.
Yeah.
But I want to take a step back for a minute and ask you about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Where does SEO fit into the overall landscape of how businesses operate online?
That's a great question. I think SEO is more important than ever before because people are spending more and more time online.
Sure.
And they're using search engines to find everything from products and services to information and entertainment.
Right.
So if you want your business to be found, you need to be visible in the search results.
So it's really about being where your customers are.
Exactly. It's about meeting them where they're at and giving them the information they're looking for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So SEO is not just a technical thing, it's a strategic business decision.
It absolutely is. It's about understanding your target audience and creating a website that meets their needs.
And then making sure that they can actually find you online. So we've talked about the benefits of SEO, but let's be real. It takes time and effort to do it right.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a quick fix.
So how do you convince business owners that it's worth the investment?
Well, I think the best way to do that is to show them the results.
Okay.
When you can demonstrate how SEO has helped other businesses increase their traffic leads and sales, then it becomes a lot easier to make the case for investing in it.
Right, because the numbers speak for themselves.
Exactly.
I think a lot of business owners are intimidated by SEO.
Yeah, I could see that.
It seems technical and complex.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
What advice would you give to a business owner who's just starting out with SEO?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't try to do everything at once.
Sure.
Start with the basics.
Like what?
Like making sure your website is well-structured and easy to navigate, and that your content is high quality and relevant to your target audience.
Right. Once you've got those foundations in place, then you can start to focus on more advanced techniques like keyword research and link building.
So start small and build from there.
Exactly.
It's about taking those baby steps and gradually building your SEO expertise.
Absolutely.
One of the things that the paper emphasized was the importance of tracking your results.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
How do you know if your SEO efforts are actually working?
Well, there are a lot of different metrics you can track,
Okay.
like your website traffic, your keyword rankings,
Oh.
your conversion rates.
What are conversion rates?
That's the percentage of visitors to your website who take a desired action,
Okay.
like making a purchase or filling out a contact form.
Got it.
By tracking these metrics, you can see what's working and what's not,
Right.
and then you can adjust your strategy accordingly.
So it's all about constant improvement.
Exactly. SEO is an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and then forget about.
So you have to be willing to put in the time and effort to stay ahead of the curve. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about what SEO is, why it's important, the challenges involved, and how to get started. But now I want to ask you the million-dollar question.
Okay.
What's the one thing that you wish every business owner understood about SEO?
That's a tough one.
I know, but if you had to pick just one thing.
I think it would be this: SEO is not just about getting more traffic to your website.
Okay.
It's about getting the right kind of traffic.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, traffic that's actually interested in what you have to offer,
Right.
traffic that's likely to convert into customers.
So it's not just about quantity,
Yeah.
it's about quality.
Exactly. You can have all the traffic in the world, but if it's not the right kind of traffic, it's not going to do you any good.
That's a great point. So how do you make sure you're attracting the right kind of traffic?
Well, it all starts with understanding your target audience.
Okay.
Who are they? What are their needs and wants? What are they searching for online?
Right.
Once you understand your target audience, You can create content that's relevant to them. And then you can use SEO to make sure that they can find that content.
Got it. So it's all about aligning your SEO strategy with your overall business goals.
Exactly.
Now, I want to shift gears for a second and talk about some of the emerging trends in SEO.
Okay.
The paper mentioned things like voice search and mobile optimization.
Yeah, those are definitely big trends right now.
How are these trends impacting the way businesses approach SEO?
Well, voice search is changing the way people search for information online.
How so?
People are using more natural language when they search with voice.
Okay.
So instead of typing in best pizza near me, they might say, hey Siri, where's the best pizza place nearby?
Right.
So businesses need to optimize their websites for these longer, more conversational search queries.
So it's not just about keywords anymore.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the intent behind the search.
Exactly.
And what about mobile optimization?
That's huge these days.
Why?
Because more and more people are using their smartphones to access the internet. So if your website isn't mobile friendly, you're going to lose out on a lot of potential traffic.
So what does it mean to be mobile friendly?
It means that your website should be easy to read and navigate on a small screen.
Okay.
It should load quickly and it should be responsive, which means that it adjusts to the size of the screen.
So it's about creating a seamless experience for mobile users.
Exactly.
So it sounds like SEO is constantly evolving.
It is.
And businesses need to stay on top of the latest trends if they want to stay ahead of the competition.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other trends that you're seeing in the SEO world?
Well, one of the biggest trends is the increasing importance of user experience. Oh.
Okay, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Google is putting more and more emphasis on how users interact with websites.
Right.
So things like page speed, mobile friendliness, and content quality are more important than ever before.
So it's not just about getting people to your website. It's about making sure they have a good experience once they get there. Another trend that I'm seeing is the rise of artificial intelligence, or AI.
Oh, yeah. AI is having a huge impact on SEO.
How so?
Well, Google is using AI to better understand the intent behind search queries, and it's also using AI to personalize search results.
So what does that mean for businesses?
It means that they need to create content that's not only relevant to their target audience,
Right.
but also engaging and informative.
Okay.
Because Google is going to be looking for content that provides real value to users.
So it's all about creating content that people actually want to read and share.
Exactly.
And one last question before we wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
What's the future of SEO?
That's a great question. And I don't think anyone has a crystal ball,
Sure.
but I think it's safe to say that SEO is going to continue to evolve.
Right.
And that businesses need to be prepared to adapt.
So what are some of the key things that businesses should be focusing on in order to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, I think the most important thing is to focus on creating high-quality content that's relevant to their target audience.
Okay.
They also need to make sure that their websites are mobile-friendly and that they're providing a great user experience.
Right.
And they need to stay up to date on the latest SEO trends and best practices.
So it's all about staying informed and being proactive.
Exactly.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into SEO.
It's been my pleasure.
I think our listeners learned a lot today.
I hope so.
And we'll be back next time with another deep dive into a different topic.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, happy optimizing.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about this whole world online and SEO. And I think what's really interesting is that it's kind of like this hidden force that shapes how people are finding information,
Yeah.
making decisions online, and, ultimately spending their money.
Exactly. And it's really fascinating because SEO has become so crucial for businesses to really thrive in this online world.
It's not just a techie thing anymore.
No, not at all. It's a core part of, like you said, marketing, branding, even just connecting with your customers.
It's like you have to know the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Even if you're not the one out on the field.
Right, exactly. And the paper we looked at did a great job of outlining all those core pieces,
Yeah.
Like keyword research, you talked about website structure, content, quality.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting was that it really highlighted how SEO today is all about making a website that's both user-friendly
Yes,
and search engine friendly.
absolutely. You got to have both. It's not about tricking the search engines anymore.
Yes.
It's about genuinely giving people something of value.
Totally. So you're saying it's a win-win.
Yeah,
You create good content, people are happy, search engines reward you.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
But the thing is, SEO is a process.
Right.
It's constantly changing. You always got to stay in the loop and be ready to shift your strategies.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal.
Yeah, no, definitely not. You got to be watching how your site's doing, keeping tabs on where your keywords are ranking, seeing how people are behaving on your website, and then making adjustments.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It can be.
So can companies even handle this SEO stuff themselves in-house, or should they think about getting outside help?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it depends on what a business has available, what kind of resources and skills they have within their team.
Okay.
Some places have whole SEO teams, or at least people who know what they're doing. Others might be better off partnering with an agency or a consultant.
So it's about figuring out what works best for you.
Exactly. But even if you bring in outside help, you should still have a basic idea of the principles behind SEO.
Why is that?
Because that way you can communicate effectively with whoever's handling your SEO. Make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's about being in the know even if you're not the one actually doing the work.
Precisely. Now, one thing the paper touched on that I thought was really interesting was the whole challenge of measuring success with SEO.
Oh yeah, because it's not always as simple as just looking at sales figures or how many leads you're getting.
Exactly. The impact of SEO can be kind of indirect, or it takes a while to really see the effects.
So you might see your website traffic go up, but that doesn't immediately translate to sales.
Right. But it could mean more people are becoming aware of your brand or engaging with your content down the line.
So you need a broader perspective on how SEO plays into your overall business goals.
Absolutely. And that's why you can't just focus on sales or leads. You got to track all sorts of metrics.
Like what?
Things like organic traffic growth, where you rank for your keywords, bounce rate, how long people stay on your website, backlinks, all that.
So it's about connecting the dots between your SEO efforts and how they impact different parts of your business.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to something I thought the paper didn't quite address.
Okay, what's that?
The human element.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Mm.
What's the human element in SEO?
The paper was all about the technical stuff, which is important.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're making content for people.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in algorithms and forget about the actual humans who are visiting our websites.
Right. And that's where things like storytelling, making an emotional connection, really understanding your audience and what they need and want come into play.
It's about creating something that resonates on a deeper level, not just checking boxes for the search engines.
Exactly. SEO is part art, part science.
Mhm.
It's about technical skills, but also creativity, empathy, really getting into the psychology of your audience.
But you're saying it's not just optimizing for keywords, it's optimizing for humans.
Exactly. And if you zoom out to the bigger picture,
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. What's the bigger picture?
SEO is only one piece of the puzzle.
Meaning,
It's a vital piece, but it has to be part of a larger strategy.
what else is in that strategy?
All those other digital marketing pieces,
Yeah.
like social media content marketing, email marketing, paid advertising.
So you're saying instead of treating SEO as this separate thing,
Right.
it needs to be woven into your overall marketing approach.
Exactly. It's all about creating this seamless experience for your audience, engaging with them across different channels.
And SEO has a big role in driving traffic and making all those other channels more visible.
Absolutely. It's like the foundation for this strong, effective digital marketing ecosystem.
So this all sounds great, but where does our listener fit into all of this? What can they actually do with this information, like right now, to improve their SEO?
That's the million-dollar question. It all boils down to knowing what your audience is searching for online. What are those magic words they're typing in? Once you've got a handle on those keywords, you can weave them into your website, content, your meta descriptions, your title tags, all that behind-the-scenes stuff that search engines love.
So step one is keyword research.
Got it.
What's next on the to-do list?
Make sure your website is set up in a way that both people and search engines can easily understand. Think clear navigation, a logical flow between pages, descriptive URLs, and of course make sure your site looks good and works well on mobile devices. It's all about that smooth, intuitive experience.
Okay, so user-friendly and search engine-friendly, they go hand in hand. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Content is king. Make sure your website is packed with high-quality, relevant stuff that your audience actually wants to read. And don't forget about those backlinks.
Backlinks, the paper mentioned those. Can you give us a quick refresher on what they are and why they're so important?
Sure. Backlinks are basically links from other websites to your website. It's like they're vouching for you. Search engines see those backlinks as votes of confidence. The more quality backlinks you have, the more credible your website appears to the search engine overlords.
So basically, the more reputable sites linking to you, the better.
Got it.
But how do you actually get those backlinks?
That's the tricky part. It takes time and effort. There are no shortcuts. You need to create content that's so good people want to link to it. And then you got to reach out to other website owners and persuade them to link to your awesome content. It's all about building those relationships.
So it's a bit like networking, but in the digital world. You provide value, you build trust, you make connection.
Exactly. And that leads us to something that's often overlooked in all this SEO talk: user experience.
Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more about user experience.
It's easy to get so fixated on pleasing the search engines that we forget about the actual humans visiting our websites.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We've talked about content, but what about the overall feel of the website? Does that matter too?
It absolutely does. You want a website that's easy to navigate, loads quickly, looks visually appealing, and provides a genuinely good experience for anyone who visits. Think about it from their perspective. Would you enjoy spending time on your site?
That's a great way to think about it. So are search engines paying attention to this user experience stuff?
You bet. Search engines are getting really good at picking up on user experience signals, like how quickly people bounce off your site, how long they stick around, how many pages they visit. If people aren't digging your content, it can actually hurt your ranking.
So it's not enough to just get people to your website. You have to make sure they enjoy being there.
Precisely. User experience is a critical piece of the SEO puzzle.
I'm starting to see the big picture now. It's not just about keywords and technical stuff. It's about creating a website that both search engines and humans actually love.
You got it. That's the secret sauce for SEO success that lasts.
Awesome. We've covered so much today. We explored the basics of SEO, how it's changed over time, the pros and cons of the human element, and even how to take action and improve your own SEO. What are the key things you want our listeners to walk away with from this deep dive?
First and foremost, SEO is non-negotiable for any business that wants to succeed online. It's a cornerstone of digital marketing and a major driver of visibility, traffic, and growth.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process that requires constant effort, a smart strategy, and a willingness to adapt.
Exactly. Second, SEO is complex, but it's not rocket science. There are clear principles and best practices that anyone can learn and use.
And even if you don't have the technical skills to do it all yourself, there are resources out there to help, whether it's an SEO agency or just taking the time to learn the basics.
Right on. And the most important takeaway of all SEO is ultimately about people.
Yes, it's about understanding your audience, crafting content that resonates with them, and providing an amazing user experience.
If you keep that human element front and center in your SEO strategy, you're on the right track.
That's a fantastic point to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this SEO deep dive. We hope you found it valuable and, most importantly, actionable. Until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep optimizing.
Absolutely.